Hey, what's going on, everybody? I hope you guys are having a nice night or day. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. And I just wanted to make a video real quick about how I build my decks, my casual decks. And the way I build my casual decks are typically, always about a fusion monster revolving around one fusion monster, and, it'll include a playset of like trap monsters, a playset of like token generating cards, like token summoning cards, um, and equip monsters. So I'll just get into each one like individually. Um, with certain fusion monsters, I think I started, like doing this kind of strategy when I wanted to build a deck that like specifically brought out five-headed dragon. He's like one of the oldest fusion monsters that I can think of that had like a really broad summoning, mechanic. Oh, like any five dragons. I know that's a lot, but with like, what was it, Future Fusion and Dragon's Mirror, 2 card combo, and you mill your deck for five dragons. You could, potentially bring out a second five-headed dragon with that strategy. So, yeah, that was, that was a lot of fun back in the day before they did the errata. But now they have other, fusions like freaking. I remember they came out with Beast Eyes Pendulum Dragon. That was huge. That was like, oh, now you can combine any dragon with any beast. That's freaking awesome, combining a beast with a dragon. And then they eventually came out with other fusions like First of the Dragons. What was it? Trishula, the Icy Imprisonment Dragon, which was any three monsters with different names. And now everybody's like going crazy over Guardian Chimera, which is like another Trishula but better, more attack points and even like more effects that just give the player a whole lot more. Like I think it lets you draw something. Yeah, for like a material you use in your hand. So yeah, Guardian Chimera. That's like a next on my list to build a deck of. Um, Moving on to like equip monsters. I want to say equip monsters are like fusions to me. I've heard some people say that, oh, ritual monsters are like a fusion monster but from the main deck. And maybe that's true in some ways, but equip monsters are more a fusion if anything because they combined with a monster on your field. And I know a lot of the older equip monsters, basically union monsters, are kind of lame or like really bad. And yeah, it's true. A lot of them are still pretty terrible. Even some of the newer ones are like meh. I feel like there are some new Union monsters that are good, like Tortune Gear, which gives your monster 500 attack and turns it into a tuner, easy, and it's a machine, so it could be special summoned with like I don't know, machine duplication and whatnot. But there's other equipped monsters like Armory Arm, which is like uh, plus 1,000. And then they got the Vylon equipped cards. The Vylon's equipped to anything if they're sent from the field to the graveyard. So boom, you get to reuse it. That was awesome. And then what next? They made equipped monsters also that equip to your opponents, like Archmage of Guilford, which only takes away 500 attack, but you could still reuse that equipped card over and over for certain combos if you I don't know, pair it with maybe a trap like what is it called? Scrubbed Raid. I like pairing it with Scrubbed Raid. Anyway, moving past that, I want to say that token cards are also really good. I got into using token cards when I started like using certain fusions that were like, oh, any dragon plus any beast for beast eyes, for example. It was like I still wanted to have a dark dragon deck, but I didn't want to throw any beasts in there. Or maybe I did eventually, but before I did, I used token cards like Stray Lands or Scapegoat, preferably Stray Lands. Or, I mean, I guess you could use Scapegoat during your opponent's turn, but assuming your opponent doesn't harpy feather duster. Without getting too much into that, I just want to say that Stray Lands were a whole lot of fun because, I used them as tributes or I could use them as material, assuming they survived. In a casual duel, they're more likely to survive, of course. Most likely, but not confirmed. And then, lastly, I want to talk about trap monsters. People really don't like trap monsters from what I've, like, I've I've asked some questions online, and yeah, people really don't like trap monsters. One card, or at least a couple cards that got me into trap monsters, were cards like Quantum Cat and Swamp Mirror. Those cards, they turn into any kind of monster you want them to. You just declare any attribute and any type, and they become that. Quantum Cat has no attack but 2200 defense, so that's good. As like if you're trying to stop a weak attack, but of course if you're trying to stop like any 3000, 2500 attack beats, like forget it. Anyway, Quantum Cat, like I remember using that card to in a dragon deck against my brother, and like he had harpies. He was using harpy deck, and he didn't think I was gonna use a Swift Birdman Joe's effect against him after I stole his card and had it in my hand. But Quantum Cat let me use his effect. So that's one little tiny example, and that's probably never gonna happen again. But still, the fact that it could happen, the fact that it did happen, means means it could happen again potentially with newer trap monsters out there. I think we have Nemesis Elephant, which is kind of like Quantum Cat. So there's that guy, and then he's like one of the newest ones. I think he came out in the newest tournament pack, the OTS pack 21, something like that. Yeah, he got reprinted for OTS pack 21. But there's other trap monsters too. There's a Abyss Stingray. It's thunder, so it's good for a thunder. Well, if you're making a thunder deck, but what's it called? Abyss Stingray, Embodiment of Apophis was like one of the original ones. Nobody uses him, but they just retrained him into like a deity embodiment of Apophis. So yeah, he's pretty good. He's like, I mean, he's good for a reptile deck, or for, I don't know, if you're trying to build some kind of like old ancient Egyptian kind of god deck. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much how I build my decks. I build my decks with fusion monster playset, playset of equip monsters. It could be any kind of equip as long as it has an equipped effect. What's it called? What do you call it? Token cards and trap monsters. Yeah. And it's not just those. I have like actual effect monsters that special summon, search, and just like negate and do all those other things too, you know. But I feel like if I build a deck with those four, it's like then it's gonna be really fun, and it's fun to find ways to make it work if you have those, you know. Or like if you have certain effect monsters and fusion monsters in mind, what trap monsters, what tokens, and what equip monsters could potentially have synergy with those main deck effect monsters slash fusion monsters, if any. Yeah, that's about it really. See ya.